Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 24th to the 30th of April 2023. We have a bit of an in-between week here, between the new moon eclipse last week and heading towards the full moon eclipse on the 5th of May. But very much involved with this pair of eclipses is the Mercury retrograde, which began the day after the last eclipse and will roll over the next one, completing by the 15th of May. So these three things are very much intrinsically linked. And as such, with all these things, they tend to unravel a story, really. And the story can be read on a general level, or we can experience it if we look inwards and we're observant to see where it's happening on a personal level. So Mercury turned retrograde on the 21st of April at 15 degrees Taurus and will retrograde all the way back to 5 degrees. So if you do want to tune in to this and get the major benefit, because Mercury retrograde is a very beneficial phase, then have a look at where 5 to 15 degrees Taurus is in your chart, especially which house and which planets might be involved. So for example, if this was happening in your first house, you're going to be rethinking, revising, and going to the heart of who you are, that core self, and how you come across to the world. And during the actual retrograde phase, all sorts of things will be shown to you from the outside. You'll see how people tell you how you come across, how people react to you, and sometimes that can be out of alignment with who we think we are and how we think we're coming across, and that's where the adjustments would need to be made. So just a very simple example there of a story that can work out personally, and we can really learn from the Mercury retrograde phase. So this week there's not really a lot going on, but as we head towards the Scorpio full moon, by the 27th and 28th we'll have the moon in Leo, and this will square Taurus and the Mercury retrograde. It's also a square aspect to the coming full moon in Scorpio. So there could be some necessary tensions at the end of the week, giving us a glimpse of what might be coming up with the eclipse's opposition, or giving us a challenge and push through point with our Mercury retrograde story. So we were looking last week at how the two recent new moons in Aries may have brought to a head and helped us realise and conclude any childhood victim stories. And this week we've got Mars in Cancer at a harmonic angle. So I feel that that healing carries on, how we learn to be our own nurture if we feel that we missed out on that in our childhoods, or how we learn to heal ourselves so that we're not living our whole lives as a victim child archetype. And a very general theme here is relationships, so obviously if we're doing that and being a wounded child, our relationships would suffer, not just with a partner but with friends, and essentially it's our relationship with ourself that we're looking to heal here, to become whole, not carry that baggage forwards. So a bit of assistance there with Mars in Cancer. That can bring up resentment and passive-aggressive anger, but if anything in that area is stirring for you, then that's to go into the central fire and recenter yourself and cleanse your cells of any stories that you've been carrying for a long time and any blame and resentment that you've been holding on in there. So once we take responsibility, we can actually cleanse ourselves quite easily. It's great for weight loss, it's great for fitness, to not be carrying all that excess weight, unnecessary baggage. So some of you may have actual interactions with your mother, with your families, or be mothers, and be reassessing the healthy balance that you have with your families, but ultimately taking pure responsibility for what you wanted to learn rather than hanging on to blaming others and creating a story out of it. But mainly it's the Mercury retrograde that we're turning our attention to. I do feel that these have been a lot stronger in the last couple of years. It's not something to just brush over or dread or make excuses for, but having a look where 5 to 15 degrees Taurus is in our chart, which house it's in, which planets are involved, to see where we can change our mind. We can definitely achieve more presence in the heartfelt, steady sign of Taurus. We can see if there's a narrative where we're not loving ourselves, or if our mind's been distracted but the heart wants to stay centred. Those would be more general themes. We could be breaking the mould on having to think that we always have to press forwards, carry the load, push, produce, and can we give ourselves permission to just stop and be. A bigger theme that's been playing for quite a while now is the best use of our time and energy. So some of us might be experiencing this in not being able to give away our time and energy where it's not reciprocated, because stepping into greater value of self means giving less of our energy to try and please others, but valuing our time and energy and preferring to be still in our own space rather than running around under obligation or imbalances with other people or work projects. So there's so many ways that this one can play out, and really the whole point of astrology is to understand the themes and then to be still and quiet long enough to listen and observe, to actually see if this is happening in a meaningful way for you and what it is that you need to adjust in your perspective so that you can re-emerge at the other end of it, changed, realigned, and more in harmony with your true mind and higher consciousness. So if you'd like to see when this is happening for you, I am available, zoehind7@gmail.com. Do email me if you'd like a personalised reading. We can look at the current aspects, your birth chart, your natal signature, and what's coming up in the next couple of months, or focus on areas like improving relationships, clearing past life contracts. There's many different reading types that I do offer, and I stay very flexible. You can even mix and match and have a bit of each. So each session is custom designed with you and for you. I also include tarot and record MP3 for you to keep and listen back to. I also teach astrology and tarot with my online courses that we can do one-to-one with videos and notes if you'd like to learn astrology, tarot, numerology for yourself, because we are coming into a time now where you're more than capable of reading your own chart, or at least beginning that sacred journey. So if you're interested in any of that, please do email me. We can arrange a time to talk through and discuss what you'd most benefit from. I post these videos on my YouTube channel, zoeastro, where there are other videos all about the planets and the signs, and on Instagram @zoehind7 and Facebook @astrozo. So a seemingly calm week here, but lots bubbling on under the surface, lots of personal insights and revelations to be had if we're still enough and we listen, tuning into our own personal Mercury retrograde journey as we walk the path from the new moon eclipse to the full moon eclipse, with the planets prompting and guiding us each step of the way towards self-mastery. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week.